Very well. Then as the basis of my argument, allow me to begin by speaking of the world as viewed by Ryofui. But first of all, before I even speak of the world, nations, the people, or even of kings, there's one important thing I must make clear. The origin of the world. Your Majesty, the world as we refer to it now, do you know when exactly it first came into existence? Can you tell me just what the world as we know it first sprang forth from? You cannot answer? The answer is this. This right here is the greatest invention and discovery in human history. Everything began with this. The monetary system is what created the world as we know it, because money is what greatly amplifies man's feelings of desire. Over 1,000 years ago, during the age of what we refer to as the Shang Dynasty, the birth of the monetary system completely transformed what up until then had been a culture that revolved around barter. Easy to transport and resistant to rot and decay, currency was able to branch out to reach small societies that would have otherwise been too far away, slowly connecting everything together. However, the biggest innovation brought about by money lay somewhere else entirely. A means to measure one's wealth. How much money did someone else have? By knowing this, man obtained a way to gauge the difference in wealth between others and himself. And of course, what this gave birth to was a powerful desire to have more of it than other people. Greed fueled by self-interest. And from those days, 1,000 years have passed. What was originally began as an age of people who lived only by bartering goods has evolved into the humongous and complex world known as China that we now live in today. All of this was due to the unending growth of man's efforts in trying to fulfill that greed. Then, man began to refer to the world we live in as the realm under heaven. It is said in the past that the world came into existence as a boon from the heavens. Hence, to be under heaven meant to be under heaven's rule. And as time went by, and under heaven became China, man's musings began to turn towards thoughts of ruling with their own hands. The heavens themselves must have been surprised to see their mankind evolve and become swollen with hubris to such a degree through just the discovery of money. But, in my opinion, we still have a long way to go. As the man who governs a nation, one should not look to having people pay with their blood. It is the duty of a ruler to strive for a society where as many of its citizens can be as happy as possible. And I, more than anyone else, know how to achieve that. In a way, you could say we are completely opposite. Your Majesty, it would seem your intention is to rule the state according to some lofty ideal you hold in your heart. But I, Ryofui, intend on governing the state through the use of money. And so the question comes down to which of us can lead our people to an era of peace and prosperity. In the event that total power were entrusted to my hands right now, then in only 10 years, Qin would grow to become the most affluent state in all of China's history. It would be bursting with goods, so much food and bounty that starvation would only be heard of in textbooks. A kingdom where all citizens would enjoy life and sing endless praises of Qin. It is precisely because of all the strife we've seen that makes this possible. For 5 whole centuries have the states waged war. The people have had more than enough of their share of sorrow and anger. It does not matter which state it is. All of their people now crave joy and happiness. In which case, the only thing we need to do is have the people show off their happiness and joy as an example to others. Without a doubt, the citizens of the state shall grow envious and begin migrating to our lands. And when the kings of other states begin to view us as a threat, we need only share with them our wealth. By doing so, I'm sure all the kings will desire to join hands with us in peace. We will build our relations with them by exchanging not blades, but wealth. And after that, it is only a matter of continuing the same. Qin shall shoulder the role of industry and circulating resources through all other states. With Qin at its center, China as a whole shall thrive and expand. I will envelop everything with not violence, but prosperity. That is what I believe to be the correct way to govern China. Something as barbaric as forcing others to bend their knee through brute force is not behavior befitting a great state. To say nothing of putting all the enemy states to the sword and grinding them under your heel in the name of unifying China. I understand that your majesty is doing this only to follow an ideal. The notion that by unifying the states as one, the interstate squabbles shall vanish. But that is nothing more than the winner forcing their dream onto those who are unfortunate enough to be defeated. Even if you did somehow manage to unify China through force of arms, it does not change the reality that in the end, there will be only one victor in Qin, the 6 other vanquished states having been ground to the dust. What degree of tragedy would enfold China from this? The scattered soldiers who could not protect their homeland. There will be pillaging and slaughter. The earth will run red with rivers of blood, and more. The sorrow of those who are left to survive, their despair, and their hatred of Qin. Without a question of a doubt, this will prove to be an age of darkness unprecedented in China's history. Do you claim that there would still exist light in this land? And of course, your own citizens will pay a heavy price to make this happen. If you truly believe that everything I have brought up is an acceptable price to pay to see your dream of unification come to fruition, then there can be no other word to describe you than that you are an insane sociopath. And if even then, you believe that the unification of China is the unshakable path of the king, then your majesty, it is you who are the most unfit man to sit on the royal throne.